Hi, everybody. Welcome to another English class here on Verbling.com. My name is Lisa, and I'm one of the English teachers here at Verbling. And in this hour, we're going to be having a reading and discussion class. And I put the link to the document over there in the Verbling chat. I got it off of the bbc.com website, and I'll put the original link also in the chat. If you have a reservation for this class, then you can go ahead and use your reservation now. If you don't have a reservation, that's okay. You can just wait a minute, and when you see the green join class button up at the top of the video here, then you can click on it and join the class. When you click on the join class button, the Google Plus Hangout window will open in another window, and then you will show up down here below, and then we can get started. So welcome. Hi there, Anatoly. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Hey. Yeah, I'm doing well. I see you're enjoying the fall, huh? In Moscow.
Yes.
Nice. Okay, and Cesar, how are you doing?
Hello, hello, Lisa. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I went to Portland, Oregon for the weekend to visit some friends, so I had a good weekend. Did you do anything special on the weekend, Cesar?
Not really. I am home only with my children.
Uh-huh, nice. Get to relax?
Yes, watching TV.
Yes, that's great. And Anatoly, what did you do on the weekend?
Last weekend, the first day, I walked a little, and the second day, I had a short trip on the bicycle. It was sunny day in Moscow.
Yeah. Yeah, yesterday in Portland, it was super nice, really sunny and warm, and it was really amazing weather. So it was pretty nice. Kind of like maybe it might be the last nice weekend before the colder weather starts, but you never know. So we'll see. Okay, guys, well, we can go ahead and get started, and if some other people join us, that's fine. This is the article that I have for us today. I took it from the bbc.com website, and I just thought it had an interesting title. It says, can you will yourself to be a morning person? So to will means to use your will, to have willpower, to just do it, just become a morning person, even if you maybe don't consider yourself a morning person already. My internet seems a little slow, so the pages are scrolling slowly, but we're going to use this page right here to read. And first, let me ask you guys. Hi, Adrian. I see you joined. Welcome.
Hello, Lisa.
Hi.
I'm fine, and you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Welcome to class. So, Cesar, do you consider yourself to be a morning person or a late night person?
No, I consider that I am a morning person because I wake up to 5:30 approximately.
Wow.
I wake up to do things. Make the breakfast. Is spending to my child is going to their schools, their school, and go to my home from my home 6:30 a.m.
Wow.
To work.
Wow. Have you always been able to get up early in the morning easily, or is it hard for you to get up?
It's very hard for me because I like to sleep so much.
Yeah. Okay.
The weekend is good for me because I have a rest and I can't sleep more time.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have to be morning people nowadays because of their jobs or something, but it can be hard. Yeah.
Yes, but my job is near to my home, really, but the traffic is very terrible.
Yeah.
Because I need to get out from my home so early as I can.
to miss the traffic. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's see. Slavik, I see you joined us. Hi there.
Hi, hello, teacher.
Hi, welcome to class. We're just getting started, and I'm just talking a little bit about the title here. It says, "Can you will yourself to be a morning person?" So, Slavik, do you consider yourself a morning person? Do you like to get up early in the morning?
Oh, I don't think so, but I have to work.
You have to work, yeah. Okay. Slavik, where are you from?
I'm from Poland.
Poland. Okay, great. Wonderful. And Anatoly, do you consider yourself a morning person?
More morning than night person, but not always. Not sometimes when circumstances more likely for night activities. I tune to the night person.
Okay, you change depending on the circumstances. Okay, Adrian, what about you? Do you consider yourself a morning person or an evening or late night person? Adrian, yeah, there you
go. I consider a late night person. Yes, it's very hard for me wake up early. Yes.
Yeah. And Yuki, I think I already know the answer to the question.
Yes, you know me.
I know.
I consider myself as a night owl.
A night owl, yes.
Yes.
I think we have a lot of night owls on Verbling. Although C1, if you guys know C1, she's incredible because she wakes up at 4 a.m. to take classes sometimes.
It is not good for herself, yeah, for her health.
Well, she goes to bed early though.
She goes to bed.
Yeah, like 9.
I see.
Yeah. That's what she told me. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, let's get started reading. It's kind of a little bit longer article, so I think I'm going to just have you guys read instead of me reading out loud. I'm just going to have you guys read, and I will point out still the vocabulary and maybe some pronunciation things, but I'm going to let you guys just do the reading today, and if you have questions, of course, at any time, then you can ask. So why don't we start with Adrian? Adrian, why don't you read that part right there that I highlighted?
Yes. Like many people, Dennis Ryer can't fit his workday into just 8 hours. For years, the Chicago-based wealth manager would squeeze in extra time late at night from about 22 to 1 o'clock to answer email and finish 2 days project. He'd go to bed at 1:30 and wake up at 7:30.
Okay. All right. So, like many people, he can't fit his workday into. So he can't fit his workday. It just means he can't get everything done that he needs to get done in just 8 hours. So that seems to be a problem for modern day people. We have so much work and things we need to do. Sometimes it's hard to just work 8 hours a day, which is usually the full-time time. 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. And this pronunciation here is Chicago-based. So if you're based, that just means that's where he lives. He's based in Chicago. That's where he lives. So his job is a wealth manager. So maybe he works, I don't know, like a hedge fund manager or something like this, managing people's money. And so he tries to squeeze in extra time. So to squeeze in means to like put in, but in a tight space usually. So you're trying to fit in or squeeze in more time to get his work done. And this is from the BBC, and in the United States, it's not very typical to use the 24-hour clock. We call that military time. So this time would just be for us 10 p.m., and then this would be 1 a.m. So, but this is from England, so maybe they use the 24-hour clock like they do in Europe and stuff. And then we would say he goes to bed at 1:30. You could say 1:30, but when you're reading it, we just read it as 1:30, and then he gets up at 7:30. Okay? All right. So he's trying to get more work in his day. Okay, Anatoly?
Yes, but with 4 children under the age of 5 at home, Breer began to find it increasingly difficult to work late at night. If he could start early, he thought maybe he could not only regain some of that lost productivity, but be more successful too. Successful people wake up at dawn, basically, he said. I wanted to try that. After working all day, I didn't want to work at night anymore.
Mm-hmm. So you had a bunch of children under the age of 5, so lots of small children. And so it was hard for him increasingly. So when you use the word increasingly, it became more difficult, like more and more difficult for him to work late at night. So he thought he should or he could start earlier, like in the early morning. And so this was his thought. He thought or he believed that maybe he could regain. Regain means to like get back. He lost some productivity during the day, and if he woke up earlier, he could get that productivity back. Productivity just means what you are able to get finished, accomplish during the day. And so in the United States, we have a lot of people claim, I guess, there's a belief that successful people wake up at dawn. So dawn is when the sun just starts coming up. So that's, usually pretty early in the morning. So he wanted to try all of that because after working all day, he didn't want to work at night anymore. So he was tired of, staying up late and going to bed, after 1 o'clock, that kind of thing. All right, so let's see what else here. All right, how about the next one? Cesar.
Okay. A 2008 report from the University of Texas found that the students who wake up early have an average grade point average of 3.5 versus 2.5 for people who go to bed late. The same year, a professor at Heidelberg, Germany's University of Education, found the early risers, people who wake up between 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock, are more proactive than their late-night colleagues. They are better at anticipating problems and many get better jobs. Other studies have found that while night owls are more creative and often smarter, morning people are more optimistic and conscientious.
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 Okay, good.
Okay.
So now they're bringing in the studies. Okay, so when we talk about grade point average, here in the United States, you get points for your grade. So like an A is 4, a B is a 3, a C is a 2, that kind of thing. And then you add up and you get averages. So we would read this as 3.5.
Point. Okay,
yeah.
not
So
dot.
Right, instead of dot, yeah. So 3.5 versus a 2.5. So obviously a 3.5 is a better grade point average. So this study is basically saying that people who get up earlier, they wake up earlier, they have better grades than people who go to bed late. Another one found that the early risers, so people, to rise means to get up, so an early riser is a person who gets up early, who rises early, this is really early, 5 a.m. and 6 a.m., they are more proactive. That means they do things more without having to be told or something. They're doing things because they want to do them, rather than or compared to their late night colleagues. So their colleagues are like the other students, for example. Your colleagues are also like your co-workers at work if you're an employee. All right, and also the people who wake up early are better at anticipating problems. Anticipating means thinking ahead, like you think there's going to be a problem, and so you take measures to solve the problem or avoid the problem, and they get better jobs. But this is an interesting thing. Night owls, I guess they found them to be more creative. Maybe a lot of artists and musicians and things like that like to stay up later. And also smarter, oftentimes smarter. But the morning people, they're more optimistic, so they have a what we call maybe a sunny disposition. They're not pessimistic, that would be the opposite. And conscientious, so they're aware. They're thinking about, you know, life and themselves and that kind of thing. Okay, next 2 paragraphs there. Slavik.
Okay, many successful CEOs also say they are early risers. Jeff Immert, General Electric CEO, and Twitter co-founder Jack Dorsey wake up at 5:30. PepsiCo Indra Noina and Apple CEO Tim Cook get up at about 4:30. Vittorio Colao, Vodafone Group CEO, is up by 6. The list goes on. In theory, then a night owl who transforms into a morning person should be more successful. But can you actually will yourself or train yourself to become a morning person?
Right. So if you read things about entrepreneurs and success stories, they give you this long list of people. So the list goes on. Lots more people who say that they get up early in the morning and they're pretty successful business people, for example. But this is what this article is trying to figure out. Can you will yourself or train yourself to become a morning person? You want to change your habits and become a successful person, if you think that's what it means. All right, so here's the big experiment. Let me put it down here a little bit. There we go. Okay, so this part here, Yuki.
Okay, the big experiment. George
Burgess. Burgess, yeah.
George Burgess, the 22-year-old London-based chief executive of Gojimo, a company that has developed an application to help students study for exams, has tried and failed to become a morning person. Went at the task in earnest, believing he could be more productive if he woke up earlier. Bedtime was usually between midnight and 2 a.m., but if he could shift his shut eye up to 2 or to 4 hours, Burgess thought he could wake up at 6 a.m. instead of his usual after 8 a.m.
Yeah. All right. So again, we have this London base. So this guy is living in London. He's a chief executive of this business here, and he's developed an app. So we just say app. It means application, you know, software, but the short version these days is app. And so he's trying to help students study for exam, but he has tried and failed. So failed means he did not succeed. He went at the task. So the task is the thing that he tried to do, the waking up earlier. And when we say he went at it, he went at the task, that means he tried it. So he tried it, and then we say in earnest. So he really gave it a good shot. He really tried it He didn't just maybe do it once or twice, but he really tried to make this happen for himself. And he thought if he woke up earlier, he would be more productive. So that was his motivation, was to wake up earlier and be more productive. Before that, before he was trying, his bedtime was usually midnight to 2 a.m. So he's obviously a natural night owl. But if he could shift or change his shut-eye. Shut-eye is when you go to sleep. So if you say something like, I have to go get some shut-eye now, it means I have to go to bed and go to sleep. So shut-eye refers to sleep. And so he thought he could shift it up to 2 to 4 hours. So he thought he could wake up at 6 instead of 8 o'clock. So that's what he tried doing. All right, let's see how it went for him. Okay, Adrian.
It worked well at first. Burger started his experiment after one jet-launched trip from London to Stanford, California in the US, where he was attending university. The time difference helped him wake up early. He started going to bed at 10 o'clock every night after that. With the help of an alarm clock, Burgess would wake up at 6 o'clock, take a shower, grab a coffee, and sit at his desk. The results were what he had hoped for. He felt refreshed and found that he could accomplish more in the morning.
All right, so it worked well at first. So it was going okay. So to work well means it's going okay. It's, he's doing it. Let's see. He started his experiment after a jet-lagged trip. So when you take a plane trip far away, London to Stanford University, that's in California, that's a long trip. Usually you have some type of jet lag where you can't sleep. You're off your sleep schedule is usually what that means. So you're sleeping at different times. All right, so the time difference between London and California helped him to wake up early, so he was able to do that. So he started going to bed at 10 every night after that, and with the help of an alarm clock. So most people need to use an alarm clock to wake up.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, he would get up at 6, take a shower, grab a coffee. So that's a way to just say like he takes some coffee and gets it, and he would sit down at his desk. The results. So what happened was what he thought would happen, what he had hoped for. So he was hoping, he was wishing, he was believing that things would change, and so in the beginning they did. He felt refreshed. So the pronunciation for this ed ending is more like a T, refreshed, which means he felt better. He wasn't so tired and groggy and stuff, and he could accomplish more. So he could be more productive. He could get more things done in the morning. Okay. Then what happened next? Anatoly.
It was a great time to get stuff done, he said. There is hardly anything going on around you, so it's easy to get some heavy-duty work out of the way early. But after a couple of weeks, the routine got more and more difficult to maintain. When a night out with friends or a work-related event kept him up past his bedtime, he found it nearly impossible to get up the next morning. It was also hard to wake up when he had nothing pressing to do. If he didn't have a meeting or a class at 9, he'd sleep longer. Even scheduling workouts at 7 didn't help.
Go ahead and read that last sentence there too.
I was so woken up feeling shattered and tired for a lot of the day, he said. He gave up after 5 weeks.
Good. All right. So it was a great time to get stuff done. So this is a common expression we use. I got to get stuff done. It just means work, things that you want to get done. That's the stuff we're talking about. There's hardly anything going on around you, so not much activity. When you're up so early in the morning, a lot of people are still sleeping, so it's pretty quiet, not a lot going on around you, so you can focus. So it's easy to get some heavy-duty work, maybe something really important or something that takes some thought. That kind of thing would be heavy-duty work, out of the way. So you finish it and get it off of your to-do list, for example. You get it out of the way, so it's finished. Let's see. After a couple weeks, though, the routine, so your routine is what you do every day, for example. It was harder and harder, or more and more difficult to maintain, to keep up, to keep doing it. So his lifestyle was not really of a morning person. So it sounds like he had friends that would go out at night, and also a work-related event, maybe like a meeting or dinner with his employees, or people like that. It would keep him up past his bedtime, later than the time that he usually wanted to go to bed. And then when that happened, he found it, or it was basically nearly impossible for him to get up the next morning. So it was really hard for him to get up early in the morning after staying up late with his friends or his coworkers or something. It was also hard to wake up when he had nothing pressing to do. Anatoly, what do you think it means here, pressing, if he had nothing pressing to do?
He has freedom to do or not to do.
Yeah.
His question.
Right. So if something is pressing, it means it's important. So if he doesn't have really anything important to do, it was hard for him to justify, like, why should I get up so early? There's nothing really I need to do, So if he didn't have a meeting or a class at 9, he'd sleep longer. He would even try scheduling workouts. So, set your gym workout, for example, early in the morning, but that didn't actually help him. So he says he was waking up feeling shattered. Shattered usually means like broken glass or something like that. You shatter a window and it breaks. So in this case, if you feel shattered, it's like you don't feel very well. You're kind of like, you're not feeling good at all. And he was tired most of the day, or a lot of the day. So he gave up. To give up here means to quit. So he quit doing this experiment after 5 weeks. All right, so here's the subheading here, ways to wake up. So maybe some people found ways that you can wake up. Let's see what it says here. Cesar.
Okay, ways to wake up. Most people can simply switch wake up and bedtimes because their bodies won't allow them to. Our circadian rhythm is controlled by a tiny area in our brains, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, said Dr. Nathaniel Wasson, co-director of University of Washington Medicine Sleep Center and incoming president of the American Academy of Sleep Medicine. This area of the brain has an incredible hold over our sleeping patterns because it controls the genetic component of our circadian rhythms, while other factors such as age and lifestyle can determine when we wake up. About 50% of our sleeping patterns are determined by our genes.
So let me just help you here. We say determine.
Determine, all right.
And determined.
Oh, determined. Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's see. So people usually can't simply switch. So to simply means easily, and switch means to change. So it's not usually very easy to change your usual wake up and bed time. So the time
it's like a word shift.
Yes, exactly. To shift. Exactly. And they're saying, researchers are saying, because your body's won't allow them. Our bodies don't allow us to just switch back and forth all the time. The circadian rhythm, circadian, that has to do with your sleep cycle, your sleep rhythm, and it's apparently controlled by some tiny little area in our brains, which is suprachiasmatic nucleus, which I am not a scientist, so I don't know that. That's a technical term there, but it's a location in our brain that controls our sleep schedule, it sounds like, our circadian rhythms, when our body wants to fall asleep and when it wants to get up. So, they've been doing a lot of research on sleep in the present, And so this area of the brain has an incredible holdover. So it has like control or power over our sleeping patterns because it controls the genetic component. So a genetic component means related to the genes. So we have our genes and they do different things. And of course we all know there's other factors involved. Your genes don't necessarily control everything. Maybe your age plays an important role. You sleep more when you're a baby, and then you sleep less, and then you sleep more again later. And your lifestyle, like our jobs, do we like to go out, do you party, that kind of thing. All of those can also determine when we wake up. But they are saying, the researchers are saying, about 50% is related to or determined by, if you're paying attention to the prepositions being used, we use by with determined. So something is determined by something else. So in this case, it's our genes. So depending on our genes, we may or may not be morning people. Okay. Next, Slavik.
Many people just can't go to sleep until their natural rhythm tells them it's bedtime. Unfortunately, that rhythm doesn't always suit the 9-to-5 workday. The workday starts earlier than these people would want, said Watson. Then they get sleep deprived, and that makes it even more difficult to wake up. It's possible to successfully shift one's sleeping patterns, but it just takes a lot of work, said Watson. If you want to wake up early, you have to fight your own DNA.
That's what it feels like sometimes. Okay, so the research are saying some people or many people you just can't go to sleep until your natural rhythms tell you that it's bedtime. So your natural, that would be like the circadian rhythm, the rhythm of your natural sleep cycle. Unfortunately, using that word, of course, because unfortunately people usually have to fit into the 9-to-5 workday, and it doesn't always suit that. It doesn't always, to suit something means go well. It doesn't go well with the 9-to-5 workday. If you're a night owl and your body typically likes to stay up late, sleep in later, it can be very difficult to fit into a 9-to-5 workday. And they're saying the workday starts earlier, of course, than these people would want. If you have, especially like you, Cesar, you have to go to work, but you actually have to get up even earlier to fight the traffic, for example. So
yes,
that makes it even more difficult. All right, so what happens is these people get sleep deprived. So if you are deprived of something, it means you don't get enough of it. So in this case, if you're usually a night owl type person and you have to get up so early to go to work, you feel sleep deprived. You're not getting enough sleep for you. And that can also make it more difficult to wake up in the morning because you're actually tired. All right, so it's possible to shift or to switch or to change your sleeping patterns, but it takes a lot of work. So it's not an easy thing to do. And he says it's like you have to fight your own DNA. So your DNA refers to your genes. All right. So how about next one there? Yuki.
Okay. To have a chance to win a battle, you need to do a few key things. The first is simple. Let light into your bedroom in the morning and keep light out at night. Light exposure is the most important thing by far, said Watson. It affects the circadian rhythm, your internal clock, the most. It's a way more powerful than any melatonin or melatonin, than any melatonin or medication that you can take. Natural light is sufficient, but that can be hard to come by in winter months when the sun rises later.
Exactly. All right, so you have a chance to win the battle. So this is a war kind of metaphor here. You're fighting your DNA and trying to become a morning person, but there are a few key things. So here, this use of the word key means important. So there are some important things or important factors, things you can do to try to help you win this battle. And one of them is to let light into your room in the morning. So you're following like a daytime, nighttime schedule, and you want to keep the light out at night. So some people here in the U.S., they have what they call blackout shades. You put them on your windows, and that way when you're going to sleep, it's totally dark in your room. So it helps make it like it's really nighttime, even if it's a little bit earlier in the evening. Okay, so light exposure, so being exposed to the light is very important because it affects the circadian rhythm, or our internal, inside of us, our internal biological clock is what they're talking about. And melatonin is the thing that makes you go to sleep. So it's a natural thing that occurs inside of our brains, I guess. But it's also actually something you can take. So if you have sleeping problems, people take melatonin to try to, sleep better. Sometimes people try sleep medication, that kind of thing. So.
Excuse me, teacher.
Yeah, go ahead.
The melatonin is a medicament that the people take to sleep?
Yeah, it's
okay.
Yeah, melatonin. It's also yeah, you can buy it. Like if you just type in melatonin, yeah, they have it like at the vitamin store, the health food store, probably at the pharmacy, this kind of thing. It's a natural hormone that's made by your body in the pineal gland, but it's also something, a supplement, we call it like a supplement that you can buy. If you don't have regular amounts of melatonin happening in your body, some people believe that if you supplement it with the like taking a vitamin almost or a medication, then that can help you fall asleep. Yeah.
For sleep, okay, I got it.
All right. So natural light is sufficient, so it means it's enough, but it can be hard to come by. So to come by something means to be able to get it. So it can be hard to get enough natural light in the winter months, especially if you're located, in places like where I am in Washington, or I'd imagine like Moscow, in the more northern areas. Then it's harder to get a lot of natural sunlight. Yeah, because of course the sun is rising later. I think right now for us here it's getting to be sunny like around 7:30 a.m. in the morning, something like that. And in the summertime it's like 5 a.m. So it's a lot different. Okay.
That's why I'm not good at to get up early here.
Yeah, in Russia, yeah.
Now I understand the secret.
Now you're understanding the light exposure. Yeah, it makes a big difference. Okay, Adrian, you can read there.
Yes. Watson suggests buying a light box that produces 20,000 lux, a measurement of light, and keeping it across from you for 15 minutes in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
You can also keep a dawn simulator, a lamp that comes on gradually by your bedside. While Briar doesn't have a special light to help him get up, he does put his smartphone, which doubly has his alarm across the room. When it rings at 4:30, he's forced to get out of bed to shut it off. He goes, he goes directly into the shower after that, which helps him fight off the morning grogginess.
Grogginess is the word, grogginess.
What do you mean grogginess, teacher?
Grogginess is that kind of feeling that when you wake up in the morning and it's just too early and you're like, you wish you could go back to bed and you're sleepy. Another word would be like sleepy or tired, but it's a special word that we like to use. Like if you say, I feel groggy, it just means like, I can't wake up, you know? Like you just feel tired still, yeah. So sometimes people just jump in the shower and take a cold shower or something to try to wake you up. Okay, so this has been kind of popular in like the northern climates. These light, they call it like light therapy. So you get something like this light box is what they are calling it, and you can put it on different times during the day to get to treat if you're getting depression or something like that. But they're also talking about it in terms of regulating your light here. So he suggests buying one of these light boxes. The lux, that's just the measurement of light. And to keep it across from you for 15 minutes in the morning. So that's kind of like, even if it's really dark outside at 6 a.m. or something like that, you can turn on this really bright light, and that it tells your body, it's giving your body, your brain, the idea that it's light outside, when it's really not. So it helps you wake up. So it's called a dawn simulator. So it simulates, or it kind of pretends like it's the dawn, it's the morning, the sun is coming up. And so you can put that by your bedside to help you wake up. This was his strategy, though. I think it's kind of funny. His smartphone, which doubles as. So when you say something, a thing, an object, or a device doubles as another thing, it means it has two purposes. So in one, it doubles as his alarm clock. So it's obviously his phone, but it's also his alarm. Instead of having a separate alarm clock, he uses it to, and when it rings, he has to get out of bed. He's forced. So this pronunciation of this ED, yes.
I don't understand the situation. He doesn't put his smartphone across the room. What did he do?
Okay, so let's say you have your bed, you fall asleep, and a lot of times people put their alarm right next to their head, like on a little table or something.
Yes.
But instead, that makes it easy to just like hit it and then fall back to sleep, But instead, he puts it across the room. So he puts his phone somewhere else, maybe like on a dresser, and so he can't just hit it and make it go off. He actually has to get up out of bed, walk over to wherever it is, and grab it and then turn it off.
He put his smartphone a little far from him.
Exactly. Across the room. So it means away from him. So he has to get out of bed to go get it and turn it off. So it's ringing, it's ringing, whatever, at 4:30 in the morning, and it's annoying, it's probably loud, and so he has to get out of bed to turn it off and shut it up, to shut it off, that means. And here, forced. So to be forced to do something just means you have to do it. So, like if your alarm clock, if his phone was just right there next to his bed, he could just grab it, turn it off, put it down, and maybe he would fall back to sleep, But in this case, he has to actually get up and go over there to shut it off. So that's harder. And then he goes directly, so he doesn't go do anything else. He goes straight into or directly into the shower, and that helps him to fight off the morning grogginess. So that feeling of being so tired you can barely open up your eyes and you really just want to go back to bed and go to sleep. And so he's trying to get over that. He wants to fight that off. And so he jumps in the shower to wake up, is what we could say. Okay. Who's next? Slavik?
Waking up early is only half of the battle. You also need to go to bed early. For night owls, falling asleep earlier than usual can be difficult. First of all, no coffee after 14.
we would say 2.
Start exercising at least 4 hours before bedtime and eat a larger lunch, but a lighter breakfast and dinner, said Dr. Kenny Peng, a Singapore-based ear, nose and throat doctor who specialized in sleep disorders.
Okay, if something is only half the battle, that's an expression. So again, this is kind of an analogy to war or something, this metaphor here that they're using. So your battle is you're trying to win the battle of being able to wake up early, but waking up earlier is only half the battle. So it's only part of what you have to do. You also have this other part, which is you have to go to bed early. And this can be very difficult for people who are naturally night owls because it's hard to fall asleep earlier than your body wants to fall asleep. So you might try going to bed at 9 or 10, but you might just lay there and not be able to fall asleep. So that is what they're saying. So here are some tips. Coffee, which means obviously caffeine. You know, maybe you shouldn't have caffeine after 2. That usually keeps people awake or longer during the day. Stop exercising 4 hours before bedtime. Eat a larger lunch, smaller. Lighter means smaller, so not as much food, breakfast and a dinner. And this guy, again, he's based in Singapore, so that's where he works and lives. And he's an ear, nose, and throat doctor. That's a specialist. And these are the doctors who often deal with people who have sleep disorders. So if you have to take like a sleeping test or something like that, maybe if you have problems with your nose, your throat, or you snore, things like this, this would be the type of doctor that specializes in that. Okay. Here we have some more to read. Yeah, Yuki.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. The bedroom also need to be as dark as possible, which means putting away smartphones and shutting off the television at least an hour before bedtime, Punk said. This last point is crucial, added Watson. Technology is a big driver of insomnia these days because mobile phones, tablets, and television
screens.
television. セカンドシャワーだよ。
Well,
television.
Well, when we say it with screens, we say television screens.
Television screens emit light in a blue wavelength, which is a powerful stimulant. What you are doing right before you go to bed is blasting your brain with these blue wavelengths, he said. You are telling your body it's time to be awake, and that's not the message you want to send.
Right. So the morning you want it to be light, but at night you want it to be as dark as possible. So to put away, it means to, you know, put them in a drawer or put them in a place where you're not seeing the light that shines, you know, that emits from your smartphone, and shutting off the television at least an hour. This is a really interesting thing because many people in the U.S. Have televisions in their bedrooms and they watch TV before they fall asleep. So it's kind of how they go to sleep sometimes. So that's an interesting thing there. Another point that is crucial, which means important or essential, he's saying that this is really important because of the the light, this blue wavelength. And it's what it's a big driver of insomnia. So a big driver, we're not talking about a big guy driving a car here. We're talking about something that's making something else happen. So it's really significant effect that these lights are having on our sleep. So a lot of people these days are having trouble with falling to sleep. That's what insomnia is, not being able to go to sleep, to fall asleep. And this light is emitted from all of these different devices that are very common for people to have now. And the reason why it's affecting us this way is because it acts as a powerful stimulant. So a stimulant is something like caffeine. It stimulates your body to be awake, to have energy. Usually, that's what a stimulant can, like a drug can be a stimulant, that kind of thing. All right, so he says what you're doing is you're blasting your brain. Blasting, you usually think of like shooting up or exploding something. You're blasting something. You could blast music, make it really loud, that kind of thing. But in this case, it's like your brain is being blasted with these blue wavelengths, this light. And it's telling your body, the effect of it is that it's telling your body to be awake. It's light outside, so you have to stay awake. It's not time to go to sleep yet because it's not dark. And this is not the message you want to send to your brain if you're trying to go to sleep so you can get up earlier in the morning. All right. Adrian.
While it's possible to fall asleep early, not everyone will be able to do it. Some people suffer from sleeping disorders and they won't be able to shift their wake up and bedtime without medical help, and others won't be able to handle this regular routine. People sleep best when the body knows sleep is coming. Becoming a morning person can only work if you wake up and go to bed early every day of the week, said Watson. Yes, that means staying up late every weekend could be a problem.
Yes. All right, so basically not everybody will be able to do this. Some people suffer from, if you suffer from some kind of disease, disorder, problem, it just means you have it and you're suffering from it because it's not good for you. So if you have some kind of sleep disorder, you might need medical help if you're trying to shift your sleeping patterns. And some people just won't be able to handle. So to handle something means to be able to do it. I can't really handle this schedule, this routine. I just can't do it, is what it means. Here's their advice here. People sleep best when their body knows sleep is coming. So that's the idea of preparing, turning off your electronics, that kind of thing, getting your body ready, making everything dark so it's like, it's really dark out. Blah, 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 blah. You have to go to bed early every day of the week. So the weekend can be a problem for people because if you like to stay up late on Friday night, Saturday night, for example, it can be hard for you to then change back into your getting up early. So that could be a problem. All right. Social jet lag. Never heard of that. Okay, Anatoly?
Okay. It's called social jet lag, said Watson. If you go to bed later on a Sunday night but have to wake up early on Monday, then you could see a real negative effect on your performance. For Breyer, getting up to sleep early was challenging at first, but he makes sure that when he goes to bed at 22, the TV is off and his phone is far away from him, so he doesn't get distracted. It takes him about 30 minutes to fall asleep, but if he's having trouble, he'll read something related to his line of work.
For the reason the Monday is the worst day of the week.
Yeah. Exactly. So I've never heard this phrase before. It's new, I guess. Social jet lag. So because of your social life, you're getting your sleep all messed up. Basically, the idea is if you go to bed later, it's going to be harder for you to wake up, and this could have a negative effect on your performance. Like I said, Monday morning, people usually have a harder time getting back into the work, routine and that kind of thing. It's
Exactly.
probably the problem. All right, so let's see. He doesn't get distracted, so he doesn't want to be looking at his phone, so he puts it far away and turning off everything, TV and everything, and maybe he will read something related to his line of work. So your line of work is the type of work that you do. If you work in finance, if you work in computer technology, stuff like that. He says it's not that it's boring. He said it's the act of reading that makes me tired. So that's a more common thing that people used to do more. Now they have their phones with them in bed. Okay, not worth it? All right, that's the question. We'll finish up here. Cesar.
Okay, not worried. Despite what the research says about early birds, Pang cautions people against making this shift. The best sleep, he said, is from 23 and 7 o'clock no matter who you are. Pang said it's more important to get 8 hours of shut-eye than to wake up early. If you don't get those 8 hours, and you probably won't be if you are waking up at 5 o'clock or 5 a.m., then you'll need to catch up at some point.
So according to this person, the best thing is to just make sure you get 8 hours of shut-eye or 8 hours of sleep. It's better to do that than to wake up earlier in terms of feeling better and being able to be productive and stuff. If you have to catch up, so if you get behind on your sleep and you're only getting 6 hours of sleep, 7 hours of sleep, at some point in the future, you're going to have to sleep longer. You're going to have to catch up with that sleep. Okay. Slavic. Wait, Yuki. Oh no, Slavic. Sorry, Slavic.
No one wakes up by themselves at 5, said Peng. You're going to end up sleeping more on the weekends or even during the day. For now, Briar's sleep experiment is working. He's been doing it for 6 months, and while he misses staying up late to watch TV, he does find that he's much more productive than he used to be. He does most of his emailing before his kids wake up at about 6:30, which means he can start meeting with clients and continue building his business as soon as he gets into the office.
All right, and Yuki, the last paragraph there.
My business is better for it, he said. I'm much more organized than before. My efficiency during the day is 100 times better, and my home life is better too. By the time I get home, I'm tired of working, and I can spend time with my kids. That's good. I envy you.
All right, so for now it's working, but he had to do a lot of things. He misses staying up late, watching TV. He probably had to change his social life around a little bit, but he recognizes that it is helpful. So there you go. What do you guys think? Maybe
this text contains a lot, full of suggestions for me.
Some people don't need to be morning people. Some people, their lifestyle works fine being late at night. I was just, it's time, so if you have to go, you can go. But I'll just tell you, I was with my friends this weekend, and I saw them in a play, and they were doing this play, and every night that they performed, the play doesn't even end until like after 10, and then they stick around, and then they had a party. So Friday night, I don't think they went to bed until 3, and Saturday it was more like 1 probably, and they sleep until like 11 or 12, and it's a completely different schedule than I have, but it's what works for them, so It's because
I
their
also
lifestyle is
think
different.
if your time span works well, it doesn't need to change.
Yeah. That's it?
I think that the concept of the morning person is according to the responsibility to have to do the things,
Yes.
your own stuff, your own stuff, your own things. It's only responsibility, but it's very important. It's very important that to give to your body, to help their body, the time enough to have a rest, because the people feel sick if you don't sleep enough.
Yeah. Yeah. And I definitely, you know, sometimes if you realize you have to wake up early in the morning because of school or your job, it's really important to train yourself to go to bed earlier. It's hard for my kids. They like to stay up late, and they have to wake up by 7 a.m. or sometimes a little earlier. And I have to fight with them sometimes, like to get them to do what's right for themselves in terms of giving their bodies enough rest. It's hard because they like to stay up late, you know.
Yes.
So, it's hard to do it. Okay, guys, thanks for coming to class.
Thank you too.
Okay, take care, everybody. Have a good day.
Okay, take
Bye.
care. See you.
See you soon. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Have you guys read instead of me reading out loud. I'm just going to have you guys read, and I will point out still the vocabulary and maybe some pronunciation things, but I'm going to let you guys just do the reading today, and if you have questions, of course, at any time, then you can ask. So why don't we start with Adrian? Adrian, why don't you read that part right there that I highlighted?
Yes. Like many people, Dennis Ryer can't fit his workday into just 8 hours. For years, the Chicago-based wealth manager would squeeze in extra time late at night from about 22 to 1 o'clock to answer email and finish 2 days project. He'd go to bed at 1:30 and wake up at 7:30.
Okay. All right. So, like many people, he can't fit his workday into. So he can't fit his workday. It just means he can't get everything done that he needs to get done in just 8 hours. So that seems to be a problem for modern day people. We have so much work and things we need to do. Sometimes it's hard to just work 8 hours a day, which is usually the full-time time. 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. And this pronunciation here is Chicago-based. So if you're based, that just means that's where he lives. He's based in Chicago. That's where he lives. So his job is a wealth manager. So maybe he works, I don't know.
Then night person, but not always. Not sometimes when circumstances more likely for night activities. I tune to the night person.
Okay, you change depending on the circumstances. Okay, Adrian, what about you? Do you consider yourself a morning person or an evening or late night person? Adrian, there you
go. I consider late night person. Yes, it's very hard for me wake up early. Yes.
Yeah. And Yuki, I think I already know the answer to the question.
Yes, you know me.
I know.
I consider myself as a night owl.
A night owl, yes.
Yes.
I think we have a lot of night owls on Verbling. Although C1, if you guys know C1, she's incredible because she wakes up at 4 a.m. to take classes sometimes.
It is not good for herself, for her health.
Well, she goes to bed early though.
She goes to bed.
Like yeah, like 9.
I see.
Yeah, yeah. That's what she told me. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, let's get started reading. It's kind of a little bit longer article, so I think I'm going to just. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another English class here on Verbling.com. My name is Lisa, and I'm one of the English teachers here at Verbling. And in this hour, we're going to be having a reading and discussion class. And I put the link to the document over there in the Verbling chat. I got it off of the bbc.com website, and I'll put the original link also in the chat. If you have a reservation for this class, then you can go ahead and use your reservation now. If you don't have a reservation, that's okay. You can just wait a minute, and when you see the green join class button up at the top of the video here, then you can click on it and join the class. When you click on the join class button, the Google Plus Hangout window will open in another window, and then you will show up down here below, and then we can get started. So welcome. Hi there, Anatoly. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Hey. Yeah, I'm doing well. I see you're enjoying the fall, huh? In Moscow.
Yes.
Nice. Okay, and Cesar, how are you doing?
Hello, hello, Lisa. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I went to Portland, Oregon for the weekend to visit some friends, so I had a good weekend. Did you do anything special on the weekend, Cesar?
Not really. I'm home only with my children.
Nice. Get to relax.
Yes, watching TV.
Yes, that's great. And Anatoly, what did you do on the weekend?
Last weekend, the first day, I walked a little and
to my child is going to their schools, their school, and go to my home from my home 6:30 a.m.
Wow.
To work.
Wow. Have you always been able to get up early in the morning easily, or is it hard for you to get up?
It's very hard for me because I like to sleep so much.
Yeah. Okay.
The weekend is good for me because I have a rest and I can't sleep more time.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have to be morning people nowadays because of their jobs or something, but it can be hard. Yeah.
Yes, but my job is near to my home, really, but the traffic is very terrible.
Yeah.
And because I need to get out from my home so early as I can.
To miss the traffic. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's see. Slavik, I see you joined us. Hi there.
Hi, hello, teacher.
Hi, welcome to class. We're just getting started, and I'm just talking a little bit about the title here. It says, "Can you will yourself to be a morning person?" So, Slavik, do you consider yourself a morning person? Do you like to get up early in the morning?
Oh, I don't think so, but I have to work.
You have to work, yeah. Okay. Slavik, where are you from?
I'm from Poland.
Poland, okay, great. Wonderful. And Anatoly, do you consider yourself a morning person?
More morning. The second day, I had a short trip on the bicycle. It was sunny day in Moscow.
Yeah. Yeah, yesterday in Portland, it was super nice, really sunny and warm, and it was really amazing weather. So it was pretty nice. Kind of like maybe it might be the last nice weekend before the colder weather starts, but you never know. So we'll see. Okay, guys, well, we can go ahead and get started, and if some other people join us, that's fine. This is the article that I have for us today. I took it from the BBC verblink.com website, and I just thought it had an interesting title. It says, can you will yourself to be a morning person? So to will means to use your will, to have willpower, to just do it, just become a morning person, even if you maybe don't consider yourself a morning person already. My internet seems a little slow, so the pages are scrolling slowly, but we're going to use this page right here to read. And first, let me ask you guys. Hi, Adrian. I see you joined. Welcome.
Hello, Lisa.
Hi.
I'm fine, and you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Welcome to class. So, Cesar, do you consider yourself to be a morning person or a late night person?
No, I consider that I am a morning person because I wake up to 5:30 approximately.
Wow.
I wake up to do things. Make the breakfast. Is spending